And we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, wherever you're watching us from, or if it's morning at your end. And today we have come to day 2 of the Train Up a Child conference, and the theme is becoming a valuable parent. We have our speaker already in the house, and that's no other person than our mommy Mo. With wealth of wisdom, she's ready to share with us. I am just going to be glued right here and begin to write, because for me, this is a mentoring session. Because if you are talking with someone who has gone ahead of us and seen all the stages, or let me say the major stages of a child's development, then you know that you need to sit down and listen very, very well. Okay? I know that she's going to be sharing a lot of actionable steps with us, things that we can run with and things that we can implement right away. Mommy Moore is a lead counselor of the Right Fit Marriage Academy. She's a certified Save Your Marriage Before It Starts facilitator, a founder of the Right Fit Marriage community of over 19K members, and the author of Marriage is Not a Trap and 30 Reasons Why Couples Quarrel About Money. Interesting title. Okay, so let us give Mommy Mo. Yes, Mommy Mo in the building. Of course, somebody is saying that. Yes, let's give her a warm 2023 welcome. Mommy Mo, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you very much, Zee. And thank you everyone who has stopped by to listen to this, to participate in the conference. Becoming a valuable parent, that is very, very key in the century that we're in now. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking to you today on navigating conflict resolution as parents, you know. So conflict resolution as parents, navigating it. And the key of my thoughts that I'm going to share with you today is, how do you do it so that you don't injure your relationship with your partner who you are parenting together, and you also don't injure the well-being of your children? So navigating conflict resolution, that's what I'm going to be speaking about today. And I think the first thing that I want to share with you is the answer to the question, what causes conflict? What causes conflict? You know, in our community in general, and indeed in the world over, most people are conflict averse. What it means that you be conflict averse is that you just want your life to be such that you are in agreement with all the people around you. Once people begin to disagree with you, especially about the things that you consider really important, most people don't like it. And that is what we call conflict averse. But the reason people are conflict averse is because they have never sat down to think deeply about that, the answer to that question, what causes conflict? And I'll share a metaphor that I usually share with people. So if you were going to marry and parent some 100 years ago, you are likely to marry somebody who was born in your village, grew up in your village. You people have been meeting one another on the way to the stream or on the way to the farm. The culture of that community is the same, the perspectives and everything. So when you start living together, there is not much conflict. Why? It's not because you're not different. It's because all the things that could cause conflict, beliefs, perspectives, paradigms, they're similar for both of you. But in today's world, if you're somebody like Z, or if you're somebody like me, who is in an inter-ethnic marriage, already conflict is going to happen, because you people are coming from the same different places, different cultures, different beliefs, different perspectives. But even for people who are coming from the same village in today's world now, conflict will happen. Why? Because they're still strangers. So if we're from the same village, but I was born in Lagos and you were born in Kano, you went to school in Port Harcourt and I went to school in Jos, even though we are from the same village, we have had different exposures. And so we're going to have different perspectives and different beliefs and different paradigms. Now add the fact that social media and the online world is there. It means that every time you sit with somebody you think you know, there is a lot that you don't know about that person. And that is the primary reason why we have conflict. And so anybody who is conflict averse, and by that I mean anybody who doesn't want to have conflict in their life in today's world, is just deceiving themselves. Conflict will happen. Why? Because we're just all different. We've been exposed to different things and we are coming from different places. Okay, so having set the stage for that, it means that conflict resolution skills, healthy conflict resolution skills, become something that everybody must have. It's not a luxury. It's not a, I don't really want to have it kind of thing. It's just a necessary thing. You just have to know how to resolve conflict. Because whoever you marry, if you're single, or for those of us who are already married and who are parents, whoever you are going to parent with, what is even interesting is that if you get to the age where I am now, where your own children are adults and are married, are becoming parents, you will now have to be doing conflict with your own grown children as well. So take it away from here. Conflict resolution skill is a must for you. Even after today, you have to go out and just Google what are conflict resolution skills, and you'd be amazed at all the things that you can learn. Now, why is it important in between parents that they have healthy conflict resolution skills? So I'm going to say there are different kinds of conflict resolution skills. Conflict resolution skills just mean the skill, you know, how you'd resolve conflict. So for example, some people, if they and their husband or they and their wife disagree, what they will do is give the silent treatment. Some others, what they will do is fight and shout at one another. Those are conflict resolution skills. The problem with them is that they are not healthy. At the end of taking those actions, there will be pain between the couple. There will be distress. There will be a lack of peace. There will be a lack of joy. And every time differences come up again, you will be afraid because you'll be anticipating that the temperature of your home is going to go up. Those are unhealthy. Healthy conflict resolution skills are ways of resolving conflict that when you finish, the issue is addressed. Everybody is satisfied with the outcome of that conflict resolution, and all of you go happily forward together as a family. That is what will let you know whether what you do to resolve conflict is healthy. Anything that you do that once you say we are resolving this issue, then you find out that in your home, there is, you know, everybody is staying in their corner, you and your partner, you are not able to even decide how you are going to go forward together. That's not healthy. Remember, the reason that you are having challenges resolving conflict, you and your partner as a parent, is chiefly because you are coming from different places. I'm a woman, for example. How my parents parented me is one way. When I married my husband, how my husband's parented him is another way. I am Yoruba. How Yoruba people parent their children is one way. My husband is Igbo. How Igbo people parent their children is another way. I was born a Baptist. How Baptist parents are taught to parent is one way. My husband was born an Anglican. How Anglican parents parent is another way. So it is because of this multiplicity of exposure. That's just big grammar for saying that both of you have experienced different things. So it is very essential. Yesterday, I listened when Coach Ade Jones was here, And he said the first thing that you have to know if you're going to be parents, to be a valuable parent, is to understand, where am I coming from? For resolving conflict too, that's the very first thing. Where am I coming from? When people had different opinions in my home, how did they resolve it? Why do you need to do that? It is possible, like you pointed out yesterday, that you have already picked up a lot of unhealthy conflict resolution skills. So sometimes in my premarital counseling program, my clients will be telling me, hey, my parents, they never quarreled. I will just laugh. Your parents quarreled. You just didn't see them quarreling, and you didn't see how they resolve. So when I ask such people, I say, okay, so when you and your husband or when you and your wife quarrel, how are you going to resolve it? They will not know. They don't know because nobody ever showed them practically. And I'm saying this for those of us who think that it is we're doing wonderfully. We don't let our children know that we quarrel. You are creating problems for your children in the future. Because when two people come together, there will be misunderstanding. So the challenge that we face is in resolving conflict is number one. It was not modeled for us. So we are having as adults to learn how to live with another person who has a different opinion from us. Because we grew up in homes where you dare not have a different opinion from your parents. So the only way you know when somebody's opinion is different from yours is either to keep quiet or to disagree. Now, the thing is that when you become an adult who is parenting and who feels that the well-being of your child depends on you, you won't be able to keep quiet if you think the way that your partner wants to do with your child is not the way. And so the first challenge that you have is that it was not modeled for you. You need to know that parenting requires collaboration. And if two people who are coming from different places, different perspectives, different whatever it is you call it, are going to now come together to parent a child, they have to collaborate. And that collaboration is not something that they're going to be doing as they are going. It's not we wake up today, we want to do something, okay, are we going to do it? No, you have to be proactive, and I will talk about that later. But the first challenge is that it wasn't modeled for us. The second challenge is that we are coming from different places. And so I have my own filter, you have your own filter, and both of us think our way is right. And yet we have to do something together. That's the second challenge. The third challenge is not very obvious to many people, but I need to make it clear, is that we are being fed lies every day that men are bad people or women are bad people, depending on the part of the fence that you are staying. I'll say that again. We are being taught that men are bad people and women are bad people, depending on which side of the fence that you are sitting on. It's very important for you to remove yourself from that conversation. There is no such thing as men are bad. There is no such thing as women are bad. What you have is men who are not nurtured well and women who are not nurtured well. The degree of your nurturing may be better than that of your husband, but that is all the difference there is. There are things you two don't know and your husband knows. There are things you two don't know and your wife knows. You have to remember that the weakness you have is something that you are not shown or you are not modeled. Me and my husband, when we're talking, I will say, my parents were fantastic people. And they taught me everything that they know, but they could not have taught me something which they did not know. And so it means anything that was a blind spot for my parents, I arrived at adulthood and became a parent without knowing it. Anything that was a blind spot for my husband's parents or his community, he too arrived at adulthood and he didn't know. So both of us are blind people. When we enter the parenting journey, we've got to realize that we have the challenge that we have blind spots. So 3 challenges. The first one is it was never modeled for you how to resolve conflict and move collaboratively with your partner. 2, you and your partner are coming from different places. 3, you have been exposed to myths, MYTHS, about men and women that make you look away from your partner as an individual, and you are looking at your partner as a statistic. Now, we have seen these things, and I said you are not supposed to be doing resolving your conflict as you go along. Today, in family systems engineering practice, because we have understood this, we realize that a couple have to sit down and think proactively about their relationship. That's the first strategy for resolving conflict. Most people resolve conflict, it has arisen. Now, I'm not happy, you are not happy, what are we going to do about it? That's how most people do it. For us, in family systems engineering practice, we say you have to do better than that. What do we recommend? The first thing we recommend is that you and your partner, you have to have a vision for your family. You have to have values that you have agreed are going to define your family. Even if you have been married 10 years and you have not done it, the best time to do something is now. Yes, the best time is you could have done it before you married, when you married. Even if you haven't done it today, you are hearing it. You have to have a vision, and that vision, I always tell people, it's not something that you have to be going to the mountain to look for. Just ask yourself a simple question. If my child is 5 years old today, when that child is 30 years, what kind of a child do I want him to be? If he's a boy, what kind of a man do I want him to be? What kind of character do I want him to have? What kind of behavior do I want to see in him? What measure of independence do I want to see in him? So define how your 30-year-old child is going to be. You already have a parenting vision, because every other thing will fall in line. The school the child will go to, how you relate with the child at home, what you people need to do will begin to follow that vision. The second thing, values, is that once you know the values that are underpinning how the life you want to live and how you want to build your parents. I always say to people, my mother never had to chase me to study. And all my siblings too. Do you know why? She taught us one thing when we were very small. She would say to us, life has 2 sides. If you suffering and enjoyment. By suffering, she meant paying the price. So she would say, everybody has a choice. You can choose enjoyment first. If you choose enjoyment first, you will enjoy, but later down the line, you will have to pay the price for the enjoyment that you enjoyed in advance. And if you choose to pay the price first, it can be painful, it can be difficult, but when you have paid the price, you will miss the enjoyment and the reward of the price you pay. So when my own mother wants to tell you to go and read your book, she won't be chasing you with cane. She will say to you, well, the choice is yours. If you want to choose enjoyment now, you will get the reward of it ahead, later on in life. And so what that did for me and my siblings is that we not only studied at that time, we became people who practically knew how to count the cost of every action that we want to take. So the first strategy to navigating conflicts in a way that won't hurt your relationship and won't hurt your children is to define clearly your vision for parenting and to define clearly the values. If you and your husband or you and your wife can take time to look at this, then you would have resolved many conflicts in advance. Now, I know somebody is probably going to say, but my partner will not want to do. Once you become husband and wife, you are one. So if your partner does not sit down to do it with you, you do it on behalf of your family. That's the very first thing that I would say. So your vision and your values, that's the first strategy. The second strategy in family systems engineering that we teach is that you begin to have what we call executive committee meetings for your family and family meetings. Executive committee meetings, number one. Executive committee meetings is you and your husband or you and your wife. You have meetings periodically. You know, your family is an organization. Your family is a nation. In today's world, many, many things are changing. You remember what I said about the village 80, 100 years ago? The only vision those people needed to have is to ensure that their farm continues to produce the food that they are going to eat, and to ensure that intruders do not come to carry their children away. But in today's world, you have to think, if I'm going to work and you are going to work, how are we going to do? You know, if our children want to go to secondary school, which kind of school will they go? How will we get the money? How will we even protect them against all of the things that we're seeing now? So parents, a husband and wife, need to be able to have what we call executive committee meetings. In that executive committee meetings, you are not fighting one another. You are putting your vision before you and you are saying, okay, this is now 2023 April. What do we need to do inside this vision? Who is going to do it? How are we going to do it? Where will we get the resources for it? You know, and so on and so forth. By the time you have those kind of executive committee meetings, you have answered many of the questions that will cause you and your partner to quarrel every day. And what we have found for couples who do this is that even if they decide to be having that executive committee meeting once every quarter, that's once every 3 months, even if something happens within those 3 months to offend them, because they know that they're going to have a meeting where they're going to discuss it, they will not carry it on the head and be unhappy. They will wait patiently for that. So that's the executive committee meeting. The second meeting that we recommend for families to have is what we call the family meeting. So if it is just you and your husband or you and your wife and you don't have any children, your family meeting will also be, it is separate from the executive committee meeting. Executive committee meeting is where you are looking ahead and thinking of your family and saying, where do we want to go and how are we going to go? And then you are looking back and saying, what have we been doing? What do we want to change? That's executive committee meeting. Family meeting is for you and for your children, even when they are very little, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. Once they begin to speak, is a platform where family members come and talk about what is on their mind. So you can say, well, what I want to say today is that whenever I come to the TV room, you know, daddy just takes the remote and changes the channel without even asking anybody. Or mommy can say, well, what I want to talk about today is that I make all the effort and cook the food, and then when people eat it, they will not clear the table. The only law in family meeting is that you should not be rude and you should not insult people. But everybody has an opportunity to speak about what is in their mind. What it does for you and your partner and what it does for your children is that you all learn to bring your grievances to the open without fear that you are going to be attacked or you are going to be punished. And all the family are able to look at the grievances and then accommodate it and resolve it, proffer solutions. And because you are doing it in a meeting, whatever you agree will be documented. And when you people come in the next family meeting, you will look at what you agreed before. And then you will now look at what progress have we made? Have things improved? What the solution we provided, is it working? Again, you will see that in the family meeting, essentially what you're doing is that you are already resolving conflicts that can arise. So instead of waiting until people are unhappy with one another and you are now saying, okay, what's making you unhappy? Let's talk about it. You have already talked about it in a free zone where everybody is calm. So that's the executive committee meeting for mother and father, family meeting for the entire family. The third thing that we encourage families to do also that help them to navigate conflict successfully is have what we call royalty day for every member of the family. So in that, your royalty day is not your birthday, because we know that you already celebrate birthdays. Your royalty day is the day that a family member chooses. And on that day, every other family member will look at that person as royalty and treat them as royalty. So when you do that, what it does for your family is that when people value one another, when they're unhappy, they will remember that their family members are valuable people, and they will relate with them in value. So your family meetings provide you an opportunity to teach yourself and to teach your children how to relate with one another in a healthy way, how to communicate in a healthy way. It provides an opportunity to teach them the skills you want to teach them by just having them watch you and your husband and how you interact with them. It provides a platform for you to talk about the things, when you are here seeing transgender, everything, it provides an opportunity to you to find out from the children what's going on in their life, and so on and so forth. So these three things are the second strategy: executive committee meetings, family meetings, and royalty days for each member. I have a friend who on her royalty day, her family says she should stay in bed. Her children, her husband will come and give her her food. And whatever she wants to do on that day is what they will let her do. It's just a way of showing your family member that you value them. And because everybody has a day for them, then every family member is learning how to value the other and value what they think, so essentially you are creating in your home a conducive environment. People begin to understand one another better. So strategy number 3 is that you have to relate with your partner and with your children with empathy. Empathy means standing in the other person's shoes. For those of you who are just joining in, I started this out by saying that the reason we have conflict is because we're different people. We have traveled different roads. We were nurtured differently. We have different experiences and we have different exposures. So what is conflict in that situation? Conflict simply means that me and you, we are talking about something that is very important to the two of us. But the way I feel and think about it is different from the way you think and feel about it. And both of us believe that our way is the best way, our way is the right way. And so we don't know what to do because we still want to go forward together. So for example, let's say you want to choose the school that your 6-year-old is going to go to and is your first child. That's your first experience as parents. So of course, maybe one parent is thinking, no, money should not be an issue. We just have to get good quality school for the child. And then the second parent is thinking, no, we have to get a school that we, at a fee that we can afford consistently over a long period of time, especially as next year, the second child is also going to go to school. That's what is happening there is just that your origin, your nurture, your perspectives on life, your life experiences and exposure, that's what is showing. Both of you love your child. Both of you want your child to have good education. Both of you are agreed on that. Both of you feel very strongly about your own way of how the matter should be resolved. Empathy means for you to say, okay, my partner is feeling very strongly about this. Let me try to understand, why are they feeling so strongly? So you may begin to find that you may speak to them and you may realize that, This person who is talking about money, they're already thinking not just of primary school, they're thinking of secondary school. So maybe they're already thinking, instead of spending 200,000 naira per term on education, they're thinking, let's spend 100,000 naira and begin to save 100,000 naira towards secondary school, which is not a bad idea. The person who is saying, no, quality of education is very important, it's not that they're not thinking about the money. Again, it's possible that they too are already thinking that the quality of primary education that the child has is going to determine the kind of school that we admit them, and so on and so forth. So what do we see? The couple are thinking of the same thing. Empathy means that I will leave my own shoe and come and wear the shoe of the other person and see where they're coming from. And my partner too will enter my shoe and see where I am coming from. And then both of us will now say, what is good education for our child? And what can we take from my own opinion to deliver this good education? And what can we take from your own opinion to deliver this good education? And if all of these things is done, as I said, in the context of executive committee meeting, family meeting, you would find out that you would have resolved a lot of things ahead of time. And so when you have to make all those important decisions, you won't be clashing with one another. So those are the three strategies. The first one, which I said, is vision of what you want your child to be and values that your family lives on. The second thing I said is the processes, the executive committee days, the committee meetings, the family meetings, and then the royalty days that train you all to give value to one another. And the last strategy is empathy. The ability to recognize that you and your partner want the same thing, but because you are different and unique, you are approaching it in different ways, and you now seek to understand your partner's perspective so that both of you can return and make your vision the focus of all your interaction, so that the decisions that you are making together will be decisions that will deliver the future that you are envisioning to you and your children. Now, I said something in the beginning that many people think that they should not let their children know that they have disagreements, and serious disagreements at that. Please, if you belong to that school, repent today. Repent today. One thing that you need to understand about parenting is this. Everything that your child needs to live as an adult, it is from watching you and your husband that they are getting it. Let me say that again. Everything that your child needs to do life as an adult, it is by watching you and your husband in the first few years of their life that they're getting it. So when your child is a baby and becomes a toddler and begins to look, if you look, the child who smiles a lot, if you go and look at the person who is caring for that child, that person smiles a lot. Why? The child looks at the parent or the caregiver who is smiling and believes that smiling, cheerfulness is the way of life. And so they begin to do it. If you have nurtured a child, if you start teaching a child to eat, when you take the spoon and you feed the child, after some time, when the child is able to take hold of the spoon, the child will start offering you food as well. Because children just learn by us modeling. Now, Z, I'm going to send you a sheet, a document that you can share with people who came to this conference. I found out about it a few years ago. It's called Developmental Tasks and Stages. So apart from child learning to eat, child learning to read, and all those kind of things, there are also things that a child is supposed to know just by watching the parents. So for example, if parents relate with one another in a way that respects the gender. What I mean is, so if the father treats the woman as a proper woman, the child is going to learn that, okay, women are supposed to be treated with respect. If the parents treat one another with disrespect, the child is going to learn that the other gender should not be treated with respect. It's just a given. If parents are able to make decisions together in a collaborative way that does not raise tension, the children will learn to make decisions in a collaborative way without raising tension. If the parents are people who know how to make friends and nurture friendship, the child will learn. So what it means essentially is that you are the blackboard. You are the blackboard that your child is watching. Everything that is written on you is. And that's why Ade Jones, I was glad I listened to him yesterday. If you were not here yesterday and you didn't listen to him, please go and listen to the recording of it, because he told us, you have to know where you are coming from as a parent. That would help you to know whether the script, the software that was even installed in you is the right one. So before you start passing it on to your children, go and check whether what you got is even the way. And if you have children who are between 10 and 11, I assure you, they have already learned many things from you that is going to show up when they come to me as a marriage counselor to prepare them for marriage. So you do need to do. That is the reason why you have to model healthy conflict. So allow your children to know that people are different. They are different, and when they now come together, my mother used to do something which is when I became an adult that I valued what she used to do. So if you go to her crying and you say, "Mommy, see what Funke did," she will allow you to say everything. And then she will say, "Okay, why don't you go and call Funke?" And when Funke comes, she will say, "Funke, Dupe said this. What happened?" And then Funke will have to say our own. And me, I'll be thinking, why is she not believing me? Does she think I'm lying? And then she would explain to us that, look, everybody sees things differently. That if she, as a mother, listens to me and jumps to conclusion, number one, she's teaching me that I should hear one side and conclude. Two, she's teaching my sister that nobody will listen to your own side of the story, so you have to defend yourself. Three, she is creating challenges for us in the future. So you see why I said you have to have a vision, because it's when you sit there and say, when my child is an adult, how do I want them to be? And you come back to now. So my youngest child, he got a scholarship to go abroad, to go and do his first degree. Me and my husband looked at all our children and realized that the work we are supposed to do as parents, we didn't do it well. And our children are not the kind of people who, when they go there, they'll be able to do everything by themselves. I went to the school and thanked them for giving my son the opportunity to take the exam that got him the scholarship, but that my son was going to do his university in Nigeria. Not because I wanted to deny him an opportunity, but because in my home, we have a saying that we say, if your parents make a mistake with your education, you will re-educate yourself. If your parents make a mistake with your character building, when you become an adult, even they cannot call you back. So when we were making that decision, for us, it was looking ahead at that child. The child was not happy with us. We didn't do it outside of him. We explained to him. He didn't think our explanation was good, but now that he's an adult, he values that we were bold enough to make that decision on his behalf and to explain it to him. So let me be rounding up so that we can have questions. If you use these strategies, what are you going to see in your home? Number one, your relationships will improve. Your relationships will improve. Number two, you are already equipping your children to live in a world that is becoming increasingly difficult. Imagine if you have executive committee meetings where you really strategize about how you're going to nurture your children, and you have family meetings where you also pass on the strategies to everybody. Your children become bold people. I remember my children, when they were younger, as they started going to school and picking up things from people, one of the things we sat down and talked about, I didn't say, don't follow bad company. I said, you know, when somebody comes to you to say, why are you not joining this? You should be able to ask them, who is the first person that did it? Because a lot of things that people do, it is somebody that did it first. And then we have to look at that person who did it first, how they are. Is that how I want my life to be? And if people put pressure on you, then you are going to say to them that, why should I be a trend follower? Why can I not be a trendsetter? Of course, to do that, I needed to allow my children to be trendsetter even in the home. And when we were doing it in the home, we didn't think that they were being disrespectful to us. It's because we knew that home is not going to, home does not represent the world that our children are going to live in. And if they are to succeed, so once you do your vision, you will see that even though you and your partner have different tactics, it is the same goal. What you then need to do is learn how to think together and arrive at collaborative tactics that both of you can use together. Collaborative tactics will be something good from you, something good from your partner, something good that both of you didn't even know about until you started exploring, or something good that other people will teach you. But don't be fixated that your way is good, because your way is only good if your way is going to deliver to you the 30-year-old child that you have envisioned. And so benefits, improved relationship and in your family, positive impact on your children, and then modeling for your children how they are going to live even when you are no longer here. My people, my closing statement is this. When I started parenting, I could control what my child was exposed to. There was no 24-hour TV then. There was no smartphone then. There was no internet access then. But even at that time, my sister came into our home and some music was being played on television, which was never played in her house. And her children were dancing to it and she was shocked. Where did they learn it? They learned it by exposure to other children. Do not be afraid. Not every parent is as focused as you. And after your children have been with you, they're going to go and be with the children of those people who are not focused. Here is what you want to do. You want to nurture your children in an intentional, proactive way, such that they become the peer influencers who are going to make the children who came from homes where the parents are not intentional to become better children. Thank you for having me. I'll take your questions now. Thank you, Z.
All right. Thank you, Ma. I'm so grateful. Let me check if questions are here. Okay, so we are waiting for questions. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ma. I have learned a lot. Yes, we learn, relearn, and unlearn. We are all on a journey. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. So we need your questions. Any questions? Okay, as we wait for those questions, I will ask a question.
All right.
I normally find out during sessions, I have sessions with the parents at the academy. I realize that, okay, when we go on doing goal setting and vision mapping and value mapping, they always talk about the fact that a spouse is not in tune. So you told us today that we can go ahead to do this. And that's the same thing I normally say. You can go ahead and do this. But what happens is that when you go ahead and do this, and sometimes when it's the female folk that is going ahead to do that, it gets not to be implemented or seen as something worth doing, you know. So how do we go about this, Mommy Mo? I know they'll be here, they'll be listening. Well, how do we go about this?
Okay. You know, the myth, MYTH, that many of us have is that there are people who have husbands who, you know, they are united and everything just works well. See, if you are in that school, because go and tear the textbook. It's not true. Is not true. Is not true. I will say it again, is not true. And I am an example. So when people listen to me talk about these things, they think, oh, me and Mr. Hirim, we sat down, you know, we did all these things. No, the first family meeting that I was holding in my families was just me and my children. Because you see, for the thing is, remember what I said, we're coming from different places. And, you know, remember the third thing that I also said, please go away from the school of people who say women are, that made women to be thinking, if my husband does not agree, what will I do? Is the same home that made the husband to be thinking, hey, you must be insisting that your way, whether she agrees with you or not. It's the same home. So essentially, we are all victims of people who parented us who did not know. And here is what I always use to help women to understand things. If you are on a board and you are an accountant and your chair of the board is not an accountant, who has the responsibility for ensuring that that board makes wise financial decisions? Is the accountant. If the board makes foolish financial decisions, before they will do anything to the board, they will dismiss the accountant. Why? Because that accountant is on the board because of his financial knowledge. Now, it is now left to the accountant when it is time to prepare for the board meeting to be you have an option. You can be thinking, chairman won't cuckoo listen. That man, whatever you tell him, he will just not do. What's the point of preparing for the meeting? An accountant can do that. Another accountant will say, okay, how can I present this thing in a way that even if chair doesn't like the look of my face, chair will like what I am trying to help the organization to do. And for the sake of that, chair will listen to me. The thing is that if you are approaching what I have said with the mind of, if my, if my husband won't cuckoo agree, then you will not think creatively. One book that helped me in my life, in this my journey of marriage, is Developing the Leader Within You by John C. Maxwell. Developing the Leader Within You. It was in that book that I read that a subordinate can be the leader of their superior.
That's right.
And he explained to us how we will do it. You make your superior look good. It doesn't mean you do eye service. You make your, let me give you a practical illustration. There was once I bought a book for my husband about parenting. And then he just flung the book at me and said, if you can't parent children, let me know. So I was just wondering if I couldn't even understand where he came from. And then he said, my father used to be away because his father was a sailor. And my mother did a good job with all of us. What was he telling me? It's not that he thinks I'm a bad, it's just that he's saying the model that I understand is that the man is always going away, the woman is the one who does all the work. So why are you giving me a parenting book? And immediately I understood that instead of going to my corner to be crying, what kind of a man have I married? He does not even know that parenting is both father and mother. I just looked at it, empathy. I entered his shoe and I said, okay, me, it was my father and mother. So maybe that's why I'm looking at father and mother. I now understand where we are coming. On that day, this was what I told my husband. I collected the book back. And then I said, the reason why I bought this book for you is because our son is becoming a teenager and is refusing to wear singlets. I am not a man. I don't know why men wear singlets. So I really don't know what to say to him. So I like that we should do the things our parents did, but if we now see that there are other ways that we can do, that we make our children better, is it not good for us to embrace it? I collected my book back, I read it, and in our conversations, I'd be saying, now, wow, there are many things they have written inside the book. This book that I'm reading, do you know, they say that children can be if parent does. So essentially, my husband didn't need to read the book, but I was determined that the content of the book was going to become part of our family life. So when we're saying this, you know, everybody is bringing a skill, a value to the relationship. If you understand that some of the things you know and want to do is because you have been exposed to it. And how you will be humble is if you are honest with yourself. There are some areas where your husband too or your wife is very good and you are weak in that area. So let us use our strengths. One of the things that I think people need to do, and I'm putting out a communication course, you know, in the month of May, is that we do need to intentionally learn some of these skills. Remember what I said in the beginning, it was not modeled for you.
Yeah.
So you don't know it. If you now need it, you need to go learn it. So I would say to the women who are in such a situation, you see, that's attitude. Just know you and your partner, maybe you came together to become one. Remove all those things that people say. Just know you are coming from different places and you are on a journey of understanding what is going on in your partner's mind. So if they don't agree right now, all that is saying to you is that they don't fully understand you and you don't fully understand them.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. Wow, 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 wow. Please show Mommy Mo some love. Show her some love. It's been amazing here. Amazing, amazing words that come out today. And we have learned so much, so much. There was one thing that you said that I started laughing. In fact, I spoke out loud and it has to do, and I told myself, I say, man, they have to do this royalty day for me. And when I'm doing it, what I'm going to pick is exactly what that woman picked. Where I will be in bed and then, you know, the queen of the palace, and they are going to serve me NSP, you know. I think that's a very brilliant one, and I'm running with it. I don't know about you. Those out there, Train Up a Child community, are you running with it? Can you relate with me? I'm very sure that many people will like that kind of thing. And it's an opportunity for us to actually model to our children, for us to model values to our children without talking. A lot of the things that Mommy Mo mentioned were things that, you know, you subtly say things with action. A lot of things, and children are very impressionable, so they just soak it in and you just find out that it's part of their lives. Instead of going about shouting, complaining, repeating yourself over and over again, you find out that those things will work. Instead of you to say, nobody honors me in this house, nobody honors me, I just suffer from morning to night, I'm suffering for children, suffer for husband, suffer for wife, you know, and all of that. Instead of that, take this royalty thing. It's a game changer. I can already feel it. It's going to change everything because you are also honoring people. Because sometimes we ask for things, but we don't even do it in the first place. So this is a beautiful way that we all as a family can learn stuff and do stuff. So many things that she said. Is it the words of her mom? And by the way, Ma, your mom is a woman of wisdom. wisdom, you know, the words of our mom, wonderful things, wonderful ways. You can see people can do things without, you know, too much of hassle. I think we're so used to gra. We like it gra. If it's not gra, you can't do it. You know, you want to drag it, something that you can only ask your child a question, or, you know, just be empathic to your child. You first slap their head, and, you know, there must be drama inside of the whole thing, you know. So thank you, Ma. Thank you.
And let me just say one last thing, Z. Ladies, especially because I know it's likely ladies. See, even if, the royalty day, even if your guy does not follow, if you show your children, they are always excited about such things. And, you know, the temperature of a home is what you want to set. You don't want to become a thermometer that is just measuring. So as the husband is going this way, that's how home will be. Children are going this way, that's how home is being. No, you want to become a thermostat. A thermostat is the person that says the temperature of this room is going to be 18 degrees. And once you set it at 18 degrees, every other thing has to start. If you are cold, you are the person who will go and look for something to make yourself warm.
Wonderful, powerful. Are you a thermostat or a thermometer? Decide it today. You can either measure, or you're the one that fixes the temperature of your home. Thank you so much, Ma. God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. And I hope when we call on you again, you will answer us. Thank you. We've gotten so much value, so much value, so much value. Thank you. God bless you. So till we come back again by 4 o'clock. Oh, it's already 4. Wow. So we'll come back at 4:05. We'll come back at 4:05 with Miss Priscilla Canis Obi, and she will. Oh, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you, Z, for this. God bless you. God bless you too. You know, so Miss Canis Obi will be coming back by 4:05. Let's say 4:06, because we are ready. Maybe we'll spend 1 minute here. So 4:06, Miss Canis Obi will be in here. And I want to use this opportunity, you know, like I was saying the other time, that we are going to be exposing some promotion, a promo to you that we'll be doing for our next cohort of the Inner Circle. And this has to do with some of the things Coach Ade said yesterday, and also what Mommy Mo had talked about today. You know, we need to set vision and values for our families. We need to set visions and values. And in the Inner Circle, what we do, we help parents do that. We help you to set vision. We help you to set your values. We will give you templates that you can we'll give you a template that you can use to do some of these things. We also help you get out of your limiting beliefs. Most times, a lot of us, our parents, are stuck with limiting beliefs. That's the reason why we are not able to do certain things. So we want you to, you know, go past those things. And you find out that you read books, but these limiting beliefs will not let you. They will not let you. So they won't let the new knowledge sink in. So we have to go past those things. And like Coach Ade said, you have to understand some of those limited beliefs has to do with where you are coming from. So when you understand where you're coming from, you can adequately go to where you really want to be. So I want you to catch on that. It's we are running the 30% promo right now. It's a 1-year full program, you know, accountability and all of that. You know, I'll continue talking about this at the course of the conference, all right, so that we can go into the next speaker. We also have a free webinar that is coming up, on the 6th. First of all, the Inner Circle begins July, the first week in July. And the webinar I want to talk about now is actually the 6th of May. The 6th of May, and it's how to introduce your child to Christ. Effective ways to introduce your child to Christ. Effective ways to introduce your child to Christ. So many of us keep on crying that there's so many things going around, and all of that. They are brainwashing your children. This one is coming out, that one is coming out. What have you told your child? What have you told your child? Many times we just stay at the place of fire brigade. We are not intentional about anything. So we need to be intentional. Be the first one to brainwash your child. So to say, I like to say, be the first one, okay, to give them that message. All right, don't wait on anybody. Don't wait on any school. Don't wait on any Sunday school teacher. Don't wait for any missionary to do it for you. You can do it yourself. So we'll help you carry that along. So you need to attend that. All you need to do, they will drop the link in the comments. All you need to do is just get in to through that link and register your interest. All right. Thank you so very much. God bless you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you too.
Yes, ma'am. So see you soon.